Self-involved disposal alludes to an example of conduct showed by people with egotistical behavioral condition, NPD, when they suddenly cut off a friendship or dispose of somebody who was once a wellspring of self-absorbed supply. This is the last period of the self-involved love design. Self-involved disposal is typically not a serene or delicate interaction. It very well may be abrupt and startling, leaving the accomplice crushed and deserted. Not all egotists act similarly, so the way that they dispose of you can fluctuate. Albeit the egotist is finished with you and the relationship at this stage, now and again, they actually need to guarantee they leave as the champ. They could put every one of their concerns on you, making you answerable for their way of behaving and the breakdown of the relationship. In different cases, the egotist might remove all contact, overlook the other individual's endeavors to impart, or continue on toward another wellspring of self-centered supply without respect for the close-to-home effect on the disposed of accomplice. Due to their absence of compassion and at times perverted characteristics, an egotist will need to see you endure. They will frequently attempt to get however much out of you that they can prior to leaving. The self-centered dispose of stage can be horrendous, causing you to acknowledge you have been in a harmful relationship from the start. In the event that you reliably notice these signs in an example of conduct from your accomplice, it might demonstrate self-absorbed propensities or egotistical behavioral condition. Thusly, understanding self-absorbed disposal and figuring out how to adapt can be useful in exploring the consequence of this horrible experience and recuperating genuinely. Indications of egotistical disposal with models. The disposal stage can happen rapidly or suddenly, or it very well may be a long, excruciating cycle. Regardless of whether things appear to be working out in a good way, your accomplice could dispose of you all of a sudden or clarification. Or on the other hand, their adoration and warmth could die down steadily until you feel like they detest you or never again care. While the indications of self-involved disposal can fluctuate contingent upon the individual and the particular conditions, here are a few normal markers. Impulsivity. As verified above, self-centered disposal can appear suddenly. Your accomplice could vanish with next to no contact or just report that the relationship is finished, leaving you feeling confounded and stunned. You might consider what occurred and whether you missed the signs. However, egomaniacs are known to be hasty, so their choice to dispose of you might be unconstrained. They could see something they could do without about you, even something inconsequential like the manner in which you tie your shoes or pick up the telephone, and choose to leave the following day. Numerous egotists miss the mark on want or capacity for responsibility, so they pull away when things quit fooling around. They will frequently track down shallow motivations to say a final farewell to you as opposed to conceding they don't need responsibility. At times, they might track down another wellspring of self-involved supply to lift their confidence and offer them consideration, so they never again need you. Projection and moving fault. Projection and fault moving are mental guard systems that egomaniacs frequently utilize. Since they can't recognize that they have any deficiencies or commit any errors, they will fault and project onto others all things considered. On the off chance that you notice these ways of behaving, or on the other hand assuming they become more incessant, disposal may loom. Rather than recognizing and managing the issue, they will blame you for needing to cut off the friendship. Since they would rather not be the troublemaker, they could say you are the person who is dividing us. Turning super cold. The adoration bombarding stage is a distant memory, and they might have been hot and cold for some time, however out of nowhere they turn super cold. They become sincerely far off. They could pull out fondness and quit showing interest in what you need to say. They could likewise quit calling you and messaging you, making clearly it doesn't really matter to them that you exist. Your efforts to be truly and genuinely cozy will be dismissed, and when you attempt to converse with them, they will forget about you. Assuming you notice any of these signs, it is logical self-centered dispose of. They have tracked down another stockpile. Egotists are frequently reserved and appreciate messing around in connections, which can incorporate having illicit relationships or shuffling numerous accomplices simultaneously. From the outset, they could keep on being with you while seeing others, however at last, they may very well supplant you with another person. Assuming you notice they are losing interest or looking for approval and consideration from others, they are in all likelihood going to dispose of you. Regardless of whether you have obvious proof, nonetheless, they will likely still to deny it and gaslight you into accepting you are seeing things or are simply being envious. Elevated misuse. During the dispose of stage, the egomaniac might drop the facade of being an enchanting, cherishing, and caring individual. They could turn out to be progressively forceful towards you, showing their actual malicious and unfriendly varieties. You could fault yourself and take a stab at all that you can to make things return to how they used to be. They will keep on turning out to be increasingly oppressive, until in the end, they dispose of you. Nonetheless, on the off chance that you are being manhandled, you ought to attempt to leave the relationship quickly, even before they dispose of you. Reasons the egotist disposes of you. Egotists might dispose of somebody because of multiple factors, which are many times established in their own conceited and manipulative nature. Regardless of whether the relationship appeared to be mindful, dedicated, and adoring at first, individuals with egotistical inclinations are intricate people, and their purposes behind their way of behaving are not clear or lucid all the time. It's memorables critical that the reasons an egomaniac disposes of somebody are established in their own misshaped impression of themselves as well as other people. It's anything but an impression of your value or worth as a person. Egomaniacs appreciate to involve individuals for their own benefit, and assuming someone else some way or another slows down this, they are disposed of. Here are a few normal reasons an egotist could dispose of you in more detail. Absence of consideration and control. Egotistical inventory. Egotists require consistent consideration, adoration, and approval from others, known as egotistical inventory, to keep up with their swelled mental self-view. It is exceptionally difficult to furnish an egomaniac with the degree of supply they require, so when they unavoidably feel you are not giving them enough, they might dispose of you. Also, assuming that they believe they are letting completely go over you, for example, assuming you put down stopping points, they might dispose of you accordingly. Their self-image directs that everybody ought to submit to them, so defending yourself won't be invited by an egotistical individual. Egotistical injury. At the point when an egomaniac's bombastic and predominant identity is tested, they experience self-centered injury. Egomaniacs have delicate confidence and a profound feeling of dread toward being uncovered or censured. So in the event that you challenge their predominance, question their activities, or state your freedom, it can undermine their self-image. They can turn out to be very irritated by being addressed or scrutinized and dispose of you as a discipline or for the purpose of safeguarding their delicate self-image. Narcissists will generally consider things to be either positive or negative within the middle between. Thus, on the off chance that they could do without something you have done, you become useless in their eyes. Fatigue. Egomaniacs need curiosity and energy looking for conduct in their lives. Assuming they become exhausted or feel that the relationship no longer gives the ideal degree of excitement that it once did, they might dispose of you looking for new encounters or new individuals who can give that novelty. Or, they could have proactively found another person and presently commit their opportunity to seeking after this clever cause of supply instead. But they might keep you available for later assuming they adjust their perspective later.